This episode of Bussin with the Boys, is presented by Barstool Sports. We don't even do intros either. Like once we're on, we're just rolling. We're just having a conversation.
I'm all good. Yes, 2-2, check. All right, we are ready to rock.
We good back there, Josh?
Yep, let's go.
All right,
Is
man.
Garrett here?
Yeah, Garrett is right there.
Oh, what's up, man?
How are you?
Hey, Butch told me to tell you to fuck off.
Sunny told me to tell you that she loved you.
Oh, really?
So it's a different answer.
No, I'm just teasing, man. He said you're a good dude.
You know,
Okay.
Garrett's a stepson.
Yeah, that's what he's telling me, yeah.
Butch is
Yeah.
good company to keep, dude.
Butch is the man, bro.
He is the man.
Butch
He
is
runs
the man.
Nashville.
Yes, he does. I mean, I sit on his board and all that. I just sit back, watch, and take notes.
Yeah.
Butch makes things run.
So where's your son go to school?
My youngest goes to Montgomery Bill Academy.
Okay, how many do you have?
I have two. My oldest went to Vanderbilt, played there for 5 years, and now he's at USC Film School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice,
smart
man.
kid, man.
So what's it like being a parent of a high schooler that is, or they're high school, right?
Well, one was in college, out of college. The other one is in high school. It's unique, man. It's like you watch your kids grow. You watch them become a completely different person over the years. You'll be a father in their adulthood more so longer than you would be in their childhood.
Right.
It's funny when you think about it. So I always see my children as babies, but they grow up so fast and they'll pass a threshold. Do you have kids?
No, not yet.
They'll pass a threshold around 8 years old when they start to really figure things out, how to really be manipulative and use it. I mean, when they're infants, they understand it, but they don't know how to control it.
Yeah.
They're checker players from 1 to about 8, and then they become chess players
Yeah.
from 8 until 55.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So that's how it, especially girls too, man. But my boys are my life, man, and I enjoy watching them grow and achieve their dreams and watching them, have setbacks and have failures and success and the highs and lows of life. Much like what your journey's been for you in terms of your football career, and now that you're doing this deal, you're seeing the ebbs and flows of it. So it's wonderful to witness that.
Yeah. How does your high schooler feel like going to school with everything kind of going on?
Well, first of all, he hates school, regardless.
Yeah,
So
right.
let's just put that out there.
So when they canceled last year, it's like, oh, hell yeah.
Actually, it was great for everybody because we didn't have to get up at 5:30 in the morning to take him to school. He just hops out of bed. We had to make sure he was out of bed.
Yeah.
And then he'll go downstairs and sit down, do his work, go back to sleep between classes, and go back to work. And it was like, this is a cool schedule.
Yeah.
But I think now the fatigue is set in. Where he wants to. They're doing a hybrid right now for the first 2 weeks.
What is that?
Hybrid is when they're doing some virtual classes one day,
Gotcha.
home the next. So it's like he's doing 2 days in school, 3 days home. Next week is going to be 3 days in school, 2 days home. And then they're going to attempt to bring all the kids together. And that's when all hell can break loose. So we're crossing our fingers, praying that no one gets ill, and that they have this thing under control. I don't know what the hell to believe nowadays.
Bro, it's so crazy out there how much news. Like, you don't know, man. It's like,
I heard that the coronavirus for men under 30 makes your penis small.
What?
It shrinks your penis. I swear to God.
I thank God I'm 30.
Yeah. When's your birthday?
Boys, you guys are.
When's your birthday?
September 19th.
So
I'll be 31.
Okay, but they said like 30. That's the threshold. So if you
I need to be careful out
some
there.
of the asymptomatic deals, it shrinks your penis. So you want to be careful of that.
All you guys.
I'm 28. I got a couple
out
more
there
years.
now.
Yeah.
Yo, that is what. It's
I'm
like
joking.
something new.
Yeah, I'm joking. But
Oh, you're joking?
yeah.
Hey, you'll find out, bro. I'm as gullible as it comes.
But do you
bro.
see how?
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
That's how it goes,
that was-
man. Yeah, I know. I got you on that one.
Yeah, you fucking did. So, we'll get it started just like that because we have beef that goes way beyond what you even know about. So I'm going to take you back to I'm going to go ahead and say 9 years old for young comp. 9 years old.
Uh-huh.
And playing tackle football. The person I wanted to be...
Where are you from?
Missouri.
Missouri, okay.
Missouri. So growing up...
Like the Ozarks and all that?
About an hour south of St. Louis.
I got you, okay.
Yeah. And I'm playing ball growing up. And me, I was always like bigger. You know how everybody in kind of the NFL was bigger and big fish in small pond growing up. And I was convinced I was going to be a running back when I grew up. I was always like taller. I was leaner. The person I looked up to and thought I was going to be based on my body type was Eddie George.
Get out of here.
So, hey, this is a surreal moment for me. 6th grade comes around. 7th grade. I got the pacifier mouthpiece. I got the 2-bar running back helmet.
Yeah.
I'm out there looking like a white Eddie George, bro.
And
And
rocking the 2.7?
2.8.
2.8,
Because
okay.
I had a battle between you and Marshall Faulk, but
Okay.
my body type and everything else told me I was gonna be like Eddie George. Love watching Walter Payton, but Eddie George was it, dude. So fast forward, I'm getting accepted for an award. I'm on a knee, attention there. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm about 5'6", 160 as a 7th grader. 5'6", 5'7", 160, 165. I'm thinking, I put on 10 pounds this past year. If I keep, you know how you are as a kid, if I keep putting on 10 pounds every year, by the time I'm a 12th grader, because I was a 7th grader at the time, I'm thinking, when I'm a 12th grader in high school, going into college, I'll probably be around 220, around what Eddie George is. I'll probably be around 6'2", because hopefully I'll keep growing. Everybody thinks I'm tall, like I'm going to keep growing. And I'm going to play in college for probably like 3 years. I'm going to chuck deuces. I'm going to go to the league and be, mimic everything after Eddie George. So go back to that moment. I try and go to this was a year after you guys, after the Super Bowl. And I go to this football camp in St. Louis, around the St. Louis area. And I go as a running back and linebacker. Coaches, everybody always wanted me to play linebacker on defense, and I hated playing Hey, truth be told, I hated playing linebacker because I was like, man, I'm going to be on offense. I go to this camp, bug-eyed, can't wait. You're supposed to be there. Eddie George doesn't show up that day.
Oh, wow.
And so I end up doing drills with like Mike Jones, the linebacker, because they had guys, you know how like all the camps are pro guys come in. I want to say something happened. You couldn't make your flight or I don't know. But you weren't there. And I remember my dad telling me, and I was so hurt because I was like, man, this is going to be the day I got to meet him.
Wow.
Now, listen, I know I talk a lot. You're going to be talking the majority of the conversation.
Hey, bro, do your thing.
Because we got a lot of history.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pull up the photo. So fast forward, I end up getting over it. You go and speak to us when I am a junior, going to be a senior at Nebraska.
Yeah.
We take a photo. Obviously, you don't remember me in the great clips cut, the busted old teeth comp. That was just a gritty grinder
Dave
back
Kennedy,
in the day.
right?
Yeah. You were actually there when Bo was there. Dave probably set it up through the strength staff and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because Bo Pelini was there.
Bo Pelini was there, right?
Yes.
Right.
And you came and spoke to us, but we met almost August 24, 2012, almost 8 years ago to the day we took this photo. Hey, and now everything full circle. I'm getting like goosebumps thinking about the old running back days. Wow. And now I'm sitting here with Eddie George on Bussin with the boys.
That is insane. Yeah, that's right. Because I was down there for, I was down in Nebraska doing something for
the Heisman?
Not the Heisman. It was in the summer. We come down. It was our campus tours. We were doing it for Fox Sports, and that's what I was commentating.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I think it had to be during summer camp, because I remember. But yeah, man, I can't. Of course, I remember you. Why wouldn't I?
I mean, maybe you might have remembered 51 back in the day,
dude. Man, you about 6'4"?
No, I'm about 6'2".
You're about the same height in this picture.
See, you there though. Yeah. You were probably getting a little older. Your vertebrae might have.
I'm still 6'3" and a half.
You ain't no 6'3" and a half. That's you standing up.
6'3" and a half.
Hey, I'll take 6'4". I think you're reaching for the 6'3". But hey, isn't that wild?
Man, that is insane, man. God.
Do you remember going to a camp back in the day, a little kids camp?
I do. That was for Budweiser. There was a guy named Demetrius. I can't remember his last name. He brought me in, and my flight was delayed coming in.
Yeah.
So there was a camp, there was night festivities, there was a golf tournament, there was all of that whole weekend.
Oh, snap.
And I remember
you go to
coming
those.
in because my flight was delayed and I got in later on after the camp.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to
I know. Hey, I was a
your
young
heart.
boy, man, crushed. Like, man, I was gonna meet Eddie George.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you met me now. So
yeah, I
here we
know.
go.
I know. This shit's crazy, dude. But I want to start all the way back in the beginning. You grew up in Philly. Mm-hmm. How was that? Talk to us about growing up in Philly and when you exactly knew that you were gonna be a phenomenal football player.
Oh man. Well, I grew up all over Philadelphia. Grew up mainly in Abington, just outside of Philadelphia, with North Hills. And my mother, she worked for Ford Motor Company and also as a flight attendant. So we moved around a lot between like Cheltenham, Southwest Philadelphia, Mount Airy. So I just claim this Philadelphia because I have friends and family all over the city.
Yeah.
You know, back then it was just Philly. It was just home. You know, it was home of Joe Frazier. You know, Rocky Balboa.
That's
the
right.
Eagles, the Broad Street Bullies, the Flyers, the Sixers. So it was that way of life. I just fell in love with the game of football. My father played the game, not at a high level, just high school. But I would always overhear him telling stories of how he loved playing the game of football and how he loved running backs, and Jim Brown was his favorite running back and so forth. And I just grew up loving the game when I came out the womb. In fact, I used to take my father's little trophy. He had a trophy that stood up like the Heisman.
Yeah.
And I would break it down and broke it actually, and I would play with like I was playing on the football field with little figurines, and I just loved the pageantry around the game of football. Period. So I grew up a Penn State football fan. Wanted to play for Penn State. Wanted to play running back for Penn State. I wanted to be close to home. I wanted all my family and friends to see me play there, and of course that didn't happen. But I didn't know that. I didn't know exactly when I wanted to play football. I just knew that I would make it someday.
Yeah.
I didn't know how or when or what, but I always felt it in my spirit that I was going to not just play the game, but play at a high level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened with Penn State?
Well, I went to a military academy because my grades are poor. I messed around in high school so much till the 10th grade. My mom had enough, so she packed up my bags, and drove me 9 hours down I-95 south to Virginia, and dropped me off at the military academy school at the age of 15. And that's when my journey really began, as really finding out who I was.
Oh, damn.
Prior to that, I was 6 foot, 160, 168 pounds, slow as dirt, not very big, lacked work ethic. But in my mind, I could still see myself going to Penn State and playing. I thought I was going to turn it around, but I lacked discipline in the classroom as a person. And when I went to Fork Union, it was an eye-opening experience, as I thought my career was over. Only to find out that every school in America comes to Fork Union to find talent, like from Virginia, UNC, USC, South Carolina, Florida, Virginia Tech, all the ACC schools, all the secondary schools, James Madison, every single school you can think of came through there. Their coaches, head coaches, comes through those doors. So I was in the right place at the right time. But my work ethic, my attitude, everything about me was way off, and it had to start with me. Once I started changing the way I thought, the way I viewed success, that it was cool to get A's and still be on the football team.
Yeah.
It changed my whole life, my whole perspective of life. And then it was shortly thereafter that I was able to garner the attention of high school, of not high school, but colleges around the country. And Ohio State was one of them.
Damn.
Yeah.
So hey, shout out mom, dude.
Yeah. She. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I have a 15-year-old now, and he gets on my nerves. So, and I'm thinking, God, it would be really hard for me to send my son away to military school. And my mother did it without any money, any resources, hardly. She knew that my life was in danger because I was becoming a monster.
Man.
And becoming that. I wasn't quite there yet, but I had the potential to be great at something. And, I could have been great as a drug dealer or a hustler or a bum. I can do that really well. Just lay on my couch and play video games, eat Fruity Pebbles all day.
Yeah.
So the potential was there to do something great, but she had to change my environment. And by her doing that, I was able to see the potential of what I could become and be in life.
Man, that's crazy. Because like you were saying, alluding to, it's probably the toughest decision she probably ever made at that point.
Yeah.
But knowing it's the right one, like I got to do this or he's going to go down the wrong way.
I wouldn't be talking to you right now without any of this, without having that experience. I would not be on this bus right now. I would not be talking about my career, my life, my family, my values, my principles, without that experience.
Is there a moment you can think on that actually shifted your perspective? Like when because figuring that out kind of in high school, I mean, hats off to you for that too. Because a lot of kids, it might be college, it might be way down the line before they figure it out. But was there an ass kicking moment to where you're like, yo, I got to turn my shit around?
Yeah, it was. There was a running back when I got down there. His name was Lee Green. In fact, he passed away this year. And he was like everything, all-American running back, getting recruited by everybody in the country, a 4.0 GPA, just the model of like what I wanted to be, 6'3", 225 pounds, ran a 4.5 40, 4.4 40, just a beast of a running back.
Yeah.
He's an incredible person. He was a platoon sergeant. I mean, he was just like, gosh, man, this is the model. And that's what I want. I want to get that. How can I get that? But I wasn't very tough. I didn't like to run, didn't like to work. And it was this, one day we were running wind sprints after practice. And at Fork Union, you march first. Like we have fatigue days every Tuesday and Thursday. Monday and Wednesday was parade and fatigue day. Meaning that we wear our fatigues, we get our rifles, and we got to prepare to march for however long that is, for an hour, marching and just getting ready for this parade. I hated it. So we were already coming to practice exhausted. So it was one day that after every practice, we do these wind sprints for conditioning and for competition. So we'll run 10, and then after that, it's competition. Whoever comes in first gets out. So naturally, I was like, shit, I'm the slowest one out here. So I'm gonna lollygag until when I get, I know I can beat somebody in my group and then get off. So I wind up beating one of the second fastest guys that day. And I throw my hands up in the air and you ever see a Lipton tea commercial where they splash back in water? I did that on the ground. And my coach was screaming, like, that's all I can hear is my helmet's on. And I'm thinking they're cheering me on because I did a great job. He says, George, get your ass up. Get your ass up and run another one. There's no laying down on my field after you win or after you finish your sprints. There's no laying down, you walk. And I'm pissed off. I'm like, damn, I just won. And I'm crying and bitching about it. And all of a sudden, my teammates was calling me soft, and they were like, you know what, man, you just selfish and this and that. And he made me run another one. I'm huffing and puffing. And then he is, as I'm walking off the field, he's standing over this bank. This bank is about 20 feet, I guess, long, and it's going downhill. And just down the other side, the postgraduates are practicing. And he's watching them, sunglasses on, hat on, a whistle in his mouth. He says, George, come here. He says, you're a rose petal. I say, what? He says, you're a rose petal. You look good, but you're fragile, just like a rose petal. So that's your new nickname. And then he said, do you want to play big-time college football? I said, yes, sir, I do. He said, well, listen to me and I'll get you there. And from that moment on, I listened to him. And it was not easy. I still rebelled. But once I started seeing the system and how it could work for me and how the people there, the staff, the teachers, the coaches were there to help me, I began to really work hard. I began to work at my craft. So I would spend hours working out in the gym. I would damn near miss dinner, you know, just to get in every single rep that I could, because I could then see it, taste it, feel my opportunity coming, and I had to be ready for it.
Damn, hey, that's a good story.
Yeah.
That's
And that was the
powerful.
moment.
I bet that was tough as shit hearing that somebody call you a rose petal.
Oh, yeah, it was. You look good, but you're fragile like a rose
Hey,
petal.
that's tough, man.
Yeah.
That's tough. When do you feel like, because you've alluded to yourself being slow during this time, when do you feel like you started to come into your own? I assume at Ohio State. When did you start blossoming and kind of becoming that dude?
Well, at O State?
Yeah.
At O State was, I played some as in my freshman year as a goal line running back. And I had some success early. It was a national televised game against Syracuse. Syracuse was ranked you guys can look this up. I think in 1992, they were ranked, preseason ranked top 15, top 10. Just want to get the story right. But I'll never let facts get in the way of a good story.
Yeah.
But anyway, they were ranked, they were number 2 in the country. I would just go along with
What
that.
year was it?
1992.
1992.
1992.
Just type in 1992.
Syracuse was 10.
Ranked 10th in the country.
That's the end of the year though. I bet at
I'm
the
sorry.
time.
Preseason.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
preseason.
saying?
Ranked 10. Well, they were
Preseason.
top 15.
Yeah. Top 10.
And they have Marvin Graves. They got the missile. They got a defense that's swarming. They beat Ohio State that past year in the Citrus Bowl. So they kind of know, so it was a home game for them. And we're going to carry them. We're huge underdogs going in there on the Saturday night game of the week. Okay, Kirk Herbstreit was our quarterback. And you knew we were going to run the football because he can't throw worth a damn. You know that, right? And we had all this talent on
You
the
hear that, Kirk?
outside, Joe Galloway and all of that, but we would go 2 tight ends and hand the ball off to me or Raymond. But it's long story short, Robert Smith, who was our running back, was kind of hurt, had hurt ribs, and he couldn't take on the load, so we had to share the load. So I was playing running back, goal line running back that night. So long story short, I scored 3 touchdowns. That night I became Touchdown Eddie. The Ohio State fans loved me. 2 weeks later, we play our second biggest rival in the Big Ten at the time, Illinois. And during that period, during that era, Illinois owned us.
Yeah.
Okay. They would, no matter if we played them in Champaign or down in Ohio, in Columbus, they just had our number. And this was the year we were supposed to beat them, go into the Rose Bowl and so forth. And the first carry I get in goal line, you know, I'm thinking, okay, this is the Big Ten, whatever. I'm going to score. I'm thinking like how I'm going to score my touchdown, what my touchdown celebration is going to be.
Yeah.
Go and get the ball, go up the middle. Before I go down, the ball pops out and bounces twice off the turf, and the Illinois defender picks it up and runs it back 97 yards for a touchdown.
Oh shit.
Yeah, all shit is right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'm pissed. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, damn, I don't know if I'm getting another opportunity. Cooper yells at me again, goes, hey, go redeem yourself. Wind up scoring a touchdown. I ran somebody square flat over, man. I was pissed, excited, touchdown. Well, the game goes on back and forth, and we finally drive down for the winning touchdown. He throws me in the game. I take the toss. I get the toss, 19 toss. I see the force defender come upfield. I cut underneath. I'm going to make a beeline to the pylon, take the next step, get hit in the back. Ball flies in the air, fumble, recovered, game over. My season was done. And I didn't see the field again until my junior year.
No shit.
And that was in that moment between my freshman and sophomore year to my junior year that's when I found out who I was. I had to dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, because you're in, you know, for people who don't know, like when you drop off kind of like that and you're going through a second year and you're not touching the field and you're going through 2 different off seasons where not only are you training hard to get back right mentally, you know, every coach, probably teammates, like you just know eyes are on you differently than what you would like.
Yes.
And so you are in some lonely spots sometimes.
Oh, no question.
So when you're fighting back, like I can't wait to hear the next story. Like, for people who don't know, like, coming back from shit that where you feel like you're defined, once a fumbler, always a fumbler. Like, every coach around that thinks you're this, like, you can't,
it's tough to overcome that.
It's tough to overcome that.
It's tough to overcome that mentally.
So what happened junior year?
Well,
how'd you battle back to get that respect back for your junior year?
Well, I bust my ass.
Yeah.
I bust my ass. I mean, I could have transferred. I thought about transferring, but that was only going to follow me.
Right.
So that my sophomore year was a little bit better in training camp, but the coach still didn't trust me. Never got those opportunities again. I'll get mop-up duty here and there, play sparingly, but the upperclassmen, So I had to wait my turn because in our meeting room, we had 3-4 running backs that all went to the NFL.
Yeah.
Robert Smith, Butler Benote, Raymond Harris, Jeff Cothran, all 4 of them went in the league.
Yeah.
So I had to wait my turn. So what I did was I showed up early, 6 o'clock in the morning, we'll work out, and I would come back twice a day. I would do 2 a days. And you know Dave Kennedy, right? No.
Yeah. I know him because he was a recruiter of mine before I went there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Well, his workouts were notoriously difficult.
Yes, guys talked about that all the time.
Yes, and I would do his workouts twice a day. So all the pain that I felt, the hurt that I felt, the embarrassment, the discouragement, and all the negative talk that was going on around me, I used that for fuel for my fire to come back even harder. So my junior year, there was still speculation that we don't know if he's the guy. We got this young recruit coming in. Let's split time, let's split carries with him. And the first couple games were, I had 100 yards against Washington, but when you look at the tape, I should have had 200. Just missed opportunities. I was rattled. But it wasn't until I played Michigan State at Michigan State, in East Lansing, where everything just kind of slowed down. And I wound up having my first 200-yard game. And then that's when it started to pick up. And then my senior year was off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Heisman winner.
Yeah.
Edged out Tommy Frazier.
Yeah.
It's like the closest. It's like
at the time.
Is it still the closest?
I think at the time.
Yeah, at the time, closest vote in history at the time. Tommy Frazier, shout out Nebraska, 50 votes, dude. Tommy was a beast too.
Oh, he's Nebraska. Listen, man, Tommy Frazier is no joke. To beat him out,
right?
He's an all-time great, one of the greatest players ever in college football.
I know.
You could talk about Tim Tebow, cool. But touchdown Tommy, man, listen, he was beyond. I mean, the option was no joke. They ran that option to perfection with him and Lawrence Phillips, please. It was awesome.
Them boys were nasty back in the day.
Yeah.
Man.
Hey, and Nebraska fans still call me and tweet me about giving the Heisman back to Tommy.
Really?
So I take a picture of it and say, here you go.
Troll him?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you go, man. So really, hey, you had the battle there to get through junior year. I assume you finished out your junior year once you started hitting your stride. Yeah. Had a phenomenal senior year. You go on and get drafted in the first round. Was winning the Heisman, would you say, one of the highlights of it, looking back moments?
Without a doubt, man.
Just because probably, I'm sure it was an emotional night winning the Heisman when you think about your mom making that choice in high school.
Absolutely.
Overcoming what you overcame in college. And then getting to that point. So you're on a pedestal at the time, but people never really see
the backstory.
Right. What you got to go through.
What I had to go through.
There.
I mean, just 5 years before that, I was at Fork Union Military
getting ready for a march.
Getting ready for a march.
Doing marches.
5 years,
getting called a rose petal.
Yeah. Well, before that, I was 6 feet, 168 pounds. And I used to, in 1988, I would practice my Heisman speech in the mirror, my grandmother's house.
Really?
Yep. And I promise you, man, I would look up at the stars and ask and tell God, I know you have something special for me. I have no idea how I'm going to get there or when or what, but I know it's coming. And this is like a whirlwind. It just happened. So winning the Heisman was a very surreal moment, but I wasn't surprised. But I was like, damn, that really just happened.
Yeah, it's kind of like those. Are you a fan of like the law of attraction and stuff like that? It's like one of those things where you're like in your mind, you're like, I'm not surprised, but it's crazy that it's happened this.
Right.
Because I was seeing it before all that stuff took
Visualizing
place.
it, seeing it, feeling it. There's so much to that. So much to prayer. You know, prayer is a very powerful tool that we can rely on. It only goes as far as much as you believe it.
Right.
If you don't believe it by faith, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you really believe it and you have faith in the vision, you have faith in the dream, and you work on that part of you every single day that you get up, you bend your will to God's purpose for you and trust in the visions and the dreams and the intuitions that you have about your purpose in life. You will see things unfold for you.
Right.
But the moment that you doubt it and say, well, I'm a test God, like, yeah, it only happens for those idiots that go to church every weekend, or those people that, you know, this believe in Psalms and read the Bible every day. Mm-hmm. If you have that attitude, then it will never happen for you.
Well, usually those attitudes come when something hard actually happens for that person. Somebody will get believing, they'll listen to a speech by you and then go off like, I'm going to do this and that. And the moment like you get some pushback, like, but you got to keep that same energy even in those moments.
But the pushback is the blessing.
Right. Right.
'Cause every superhero has to have a demon, has to have an enemy. You got to have that adversary that's going to bring the best out of you. When you get your ass kicked, when you get your teeth knocked in and you get kicked in the gut, how are you going to respond?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
How do you respond? That's the beauty of it. And it happens in business. It happens in football. It happens in every aspect of life. As a father, as a husband, as whatever it is, you want to get tested, because the dream is so big, you're going to have some pushback. You're going to have some resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. So now you go to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Obviously, your career speaks for itself. Phenomenal. Talk a little bit about some of your ups and downs being a Tennessee Titan.
First 3 years were difficult, having no identity.
My fault. Houston Oilers. I gotta say that. Houston Oilers first round.
Yeah, Houston
Rookie
Oilers.
of the year, the first year.
Yep. And played in front of 18,000 fans on average.
Yeah.
That was very difficult, coming from Ohio State to the league and seeing just like, wow, this is the league.
Right. What were the wow moments? Speak on like the wow, this is the league, because, you know, we might know, but give people perspective on what you mean by that.
Well, at Ohio State, at the time we had a big, huge hot tub. We had cold tubs.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a practice helmet, a game helmet, game shoes, practice pads, game pads.
Everything you want.
Everything you wanted, down to the detail. It's even worse now, or even better now. Excuse me, with guys and how they get pampered. When I got to Houston, it was a bin with jock straps in it, and you go in there, you get your jock strap out, shake it out. You look at it, if it has any ball stains on it or whatever, and then if it was good to go, then it's yours. And I'm like, what part of the game is this?
Right.
It looked like the facility was literally in like a former post office building, transformed.
That's fucking nuts, right?
It is.
And you're thinking, yo, this is the NFL.
This is the NFL. Like the meeting rooms, we had like wooden tables you would see at your grandmother's house and chairs wrapped around it. For lunch, we had to go down the street to go to this little bodega and get like Popeye's chicken or sandwiches. And it was nothing like you would ever imagine. Guys
for a professional athlete.
Yeah. Guys smoking cigarettes and shit out in the parking lot. I mean, it was like, this is crazy. And that was the culture, but that's how they did it in Houston. Once they announced that we were leaving Houston and going to Tennessee, there was a ghost town. It was nobody coming to the games. There was no support.
At Houston, there's no support because everybody was so pissed off.
I was going to be there for 2 years under that scenario. And the attendance was so bad. Our last game, I think it was against Baltimore. I think it may have been 7,000 or less in the stands, and that's including the concession stands workers.
Oh my
And when
god!
you can hear conversations like intimate.
Hey, where are the hot dogs? Get the fucking hot dogs!
Right? Nah. Or you can hear somebody talking about what they did last week or problems that are going on in the stands.
Yeah.
And it was the craziest environment. But the first 3 years were very, very tough. Playing in Memphis was a travesty.
And playing in Memphis was the first year as a Tennessee Titan, right?
Yeah.
Because we had Coach Fisher on, and he was talking about the dynamic of going and playing in Memphis and traveling back. And at first you were something about Vanderbilt, or maybe at Tennessee State you were using their facilities or something.
Tennessee State's facilities.
Hey,
yeah,
what are we doing, man?
Yeah. Tennessee State facilities, go back and forth to Memphis. Every game was an away game. We stayed I think in I want to say a Motel 6.
No.
Yeah, for when we went to Memphis. So that was not like we had the best of anything. We had to take cabs over to.
Hey, what were some of the wildest Motel 6 stories?
Oh man,
you don't have to even say names.
we were only there for one night, so it wasn't a whole lot that we could do, but just to prove that the rooms weren't being cleaned every week.
Yeah,
we would leave a piece of gum or an old sandwich underneath the blanket where the extra blanket is to see if it would be there when we got back, and lo and behold, it was there entire
these boys
year.
Were treated like shit.
Yeah, dude. It was. I mean, it was gutter, man. It was gutter, but it developed the toughness to us. So once we got to here in 1999, and we saw the facility built, we saw the stadium go up. And when we walked in that stadium on a preseason game and it was packed, it was like, oh shit, we got to win starting right now. There's no time to bullshit here. There's no time to put a bad product on the field so we don't have any fans. That was it. That was the missing ingredient for us. And that's when things just shifted. We went from nomads to kings.
You had some cold tubs. You had some hot tubs at that time.
Oh, the facility. Now, it was back then. It was
even
back
then, it's still different compared to now.
Yeah, but we had a huge hot tub. We had a huge we could fit 30 guys in the cold tub at once. I mean, all of this stuff that we wish we had. Oh my God! Now you go over there, it's even better.
Oh yeah.
Amy's
it gets way better.
It's way better, man. But yeah, those were the glory days, man.
Yo, my rookie year, so coming from Nebraska, high up facilities as well, and then going to the Washington football team. After our first practice, I remember coming in and thinking yo, where are the cold tubs and stuff? What's going on? Because the cafeterias are weird in every team at first, but you walk into the training room and off on some side room, Brian Rackpo, London Fletcher, they have water hoses putting these tubs together, just these little bins that they had from outside. Oh yeah, this is how we hey, this is how we got to do it here, man, until we get some tubs next year. But I was thinking, yo, this is the NFL.
Yeah, it's surprising.
And
that's why they're
your
billionaires.
situation, it was way different. Yeah, money went into players compared to college. It goes into the facilities. Now, 1999, that year, you guys go to the Super Bowl. Talk to us about that year. Talk to us about what it was like playing for Coach Fish, how you guys all handled the transition. Like you said, now you got fans in the stadium. You're trying to basically, hey, we want to win and keep this the way it is. We got to show out for these guys.
Yep.
Talk about that transition of going into playing that season.
Yeah, it was a lot of things changing. It was the uniforms. It was the name. The fans were a part of the process of naming us the Titans. And we felt a genuine love with them. Coach Fisher was masterful in bringing us from Houston to Nashville because we were still competitive. We went 8-8 during those years, and everybody looks at his records like, oh, 8-8. Oh, Jeffrey, what the fuck? I mean, think about what he had to deal with.
Yeah,
that shit ain't easy,
right?
I mean, to try to get a team ready every single week, selling us on what?
Yeah.
With no fans. Come on. That's to be commendable. To put a product out there, to do the best you can. We could have easily went 1-12 and 1-15, and that was okay because there was no pressure there for us to win. So
Right.
to come up with creative ways to sell the game plan every single week, and we were dead tired. There was no incentive really to play other than for each other. Those were some tough years. So once we got everything in place and we finally had a sense that we mattered, it was like, oh God, you can feel it you can feel the energy in training camp in 1999. Because I was in my third year, Steve was coming into his own. We had just drafted some receivers, young receivers, Kevin Dyson. We just drafted Javon Curse. And
he was a freak.
Now that was literally like, oh God, we already had a good defense, but he set it off.
Because he had that rookie year that was like,
he was
exceptional,
unblockable, man.
Yeah.
He was unblockable. And then you throw in the fans, where it was the loudest stadium in the league at the time. They thought we were piping sound in it. So it was raucous. It was a hornet's nest when you walked into Adelphia Stadium. And you had to deal with a team that was nasty, that said, look, we're going to run the ball 30 times. You're not going to even worry about throwing it vertical, but you're going to have to deal with us in the box for 60 plus minutes. It's going to be iron fists for 60 plus minutes. Are you man enough to deal with that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the mentality that we had. And it was a beautiful thing. You know, we were nasty, we were grimy, we weren't going to throw up 30. We were going to beat you 10-9, 13-3.
Got them elbow pads on, got that pacifier mouthpiece.
No doubt, man. And we're going to get it the ski mask way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how we going to do it. And 99 was a great year. We did not lose a game in that stadium at all. That year, I think for like our first 2 or 3 years, never lost a home game.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you still think about the Super Bowl?
You know, it comes up almost every day in some capacity.
Hey, that's tough, man.
Well, it's not. It's not.
No, I know, but I'm saying like that, like.
But here's why: because it's tougher in the AFC Championship game to get there. That's the toughest game to play in. That's a grind out war, and it's survival of the fittest in that game. So to get to the Super Bowl was like, okay, we're here, and that's the reward, to play for the ultimate prize. And to have battled the way we did, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It let me know, like, at that moment when Kevin Dyson stretched out his arm, didn't cross the goal line, and the confetti's flying everywhere. It was like, damn, we just experienced this. We didn't win. It hurts like hell, but it sparked something in us that we knew we had something special for a certain window of time. So I remember after that game, we flew back to Nashville, and I was supposed to go to the Pro Bowl. And I told Jeff, I said, look, man, I'm thinking about not even going to the Pro Bowl. You know, I want to get started on next year right now.
I think he mentioned that on the pod. Yeah.
Right now. Like, not tomorrow, but right now. I'm gonna get stretched out, I'm gonna recover, but I'm hitting the hills. I'm gonna go on a sabbatical. I'm gonna go and train in the mountains. I'm gonna go the Rocky style, Clubber Lang style. You know what I'm saying? Where rats are rolling around, and the pipes are got
Beard's
rust on the beard growing out. That type shit. That's what I was on, and I was that hungry for it, to have that to be that close to winning it, and to have that taste in your mouth. Man, is intoxicating. It's addictive. And I wanted that, and I felt like that stage I felt comfortable being on. I enjoyed that's where I belonged, on a stage like that consistently. My goal was to get back there consistently, and of course, the story behind that. We never did, but
So knowing that, you don't ever go back and think like is there anything else that could have been executed differently on that final play?
Oh yeah, I think that.
Is there a different play you wish would have been called? Is there a different moment in that game that all those things? You sit back as a player.
The right call was made. I mean, we're at the 2-yard line.
Here we go. Hey, by the way, hell of a fucking tackle by Mike Jones, dude.
Yeah, he played it well. Kevin Dyson could have took a step further, and at that moment, that was it. That was the play, and they rushed the field, and that's all she wrote. But hindsight 2020, man, we battled like warriors, man.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the huddle before this play, and I said to myself, regardless of what happens, I'm gonna hold my head up high because this is a team. The greatest show on turf was supposed to blow us out by 17 points or whatever, and we beat them earlier in that year too. So had we gone into overtime, that defense was so tired, it was our game to win. So, when I look back, we lost, but people remember that game and have long-lasting relationships and friendships from it. I've extracted so many lessons in life about that I can teach to my sons using my speeches. So it served its purpose. It really did.
Yeah, I like that silver lining on it too. How you use it as influence now in speeches and things like that. Obviously, everyone knowing that we would have you on the bus, everybody included.
Congratulations on the baby because you couldn't do it because you had a baby. You just had a baby.
No, Taylor had a baby.
Taylor had a baby.
Remember, I have no baby. Not yet. I get married next year. I just got engaged not too long ago.
Really? How'd you do it?
We were out in Oakland. And we were about to fly to Denver for our last game, and I had a plan to do it that year in some capacity, and I was running out of time.
Yeah.
And when I went to Oakland, I'm like, all right, how am I going to swing this? So I got to set up at this local restaurant. Set this cute little spot up by the window, a little 2-seater, and she'd always wanted a love note from me written.
Oh.
And the masculinity kicks in at times, and you're like, I'm not gonna write you a love note, but something clicked in my head. I was like, okay, if she's always wanted a love note for like her birthday or something, I'm gonna do it for our engagement. So I wrote a very well written love letter, gave it to her as like a birthday card. She opened it up. I said she had to read it aloud, so that way I wouldn't fumble over my words. And she doesn't know at first, and then she gets in the last paragraph and she realizes it's coming together. She starts tearing up. I moved the little table out to the side. I get down on a knee, and
did you cry?
Voila. I was tearing up, but I'm like, the PDA stuff bothers me. So getting over the hump, being in public doing it, it was just a big step. I was like, here's what I got to do it in front of people. Got to face my fears. But yeah, it was dope.
It is dope because you created a moment in time that she'll never forget.
Right.
That's a memory that she'll never forget. I'm glad you did it right too.
Well, thank you.
You never wrote a love letter?
Wrote a love letter.
I used to write love letters all the time.
Well, back in grade school when you're like, writing some notes and you pass in the hallway, but you know how it is this day and age, man. Like, are your kids out there writing love letters?
Is gone, man. They're DMing stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's different now.
Like body parts. Like that's not. Like I see the shit that goes on in my household.
Yeah,
and I'm like, look, hey, cut this shit out right now. Cut it out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put myself. He's never not like that. But you know what I'm saying. It's, kids are it's different nowadays. But
it really is different. But anyway, now we have the letter hanging up, so it was really good. But what I was going to ask you was if there it is right there.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful girl, man. Y'all kept your coverage on that, bro.
Thank you, man. I definitely did. But going back to that year and just playing on the Titans in general, everyone always loves to know what it was like, stories of Steve McNair, playing with Steve, what teaching lessons you might have taken from him as a teammate, a player, a man off the field, any of that stuff that you might use now. What was it like? What's something that exemplifies your guys' relationship, your guys' being on the field together? What are some Steve McNair stories that you might have?
Well, I was a fan of Steve coming from Ohio State into college. Into the pro, excuse me. He went to Alcorn State. HBCU in Mississippi.
Yep.
And he was legend. I mean, shit, he graced the cover of Sports Illustrated, handling the Heisman. I mean, he was breaking all types of records, and he was just an awesome athlete to know. I mean, he finished third or second in the Heisman Trophy behind Rashaan Salam, and he was everything. But to become his teammate, to get to know Steve intimately, he was the type that wouldn't allow people in if he didn't know you. He was very protective of his feelings and what he thought and so forth. So it was really tough to get beyond the exterior of who Steve was. He didn't trust a lot of people. But once he let you in, man, he was just come on this bus in flip-flops and a glass of moonshine and dip in his mouth coming from fishing. He was just a country boy at heart.
Yeah.
He was more country boy, loved being a country boy than loved being a football player. He loved his family. He was a family man. And that's who he was, loved his teammates. There were times after practice, every single Friday, we would when we were at the Titans, he would get catfish and hush puppies and get some beer, and sit out and talk shit in the back office of the equipment room and just vibe, just watch, Every Friday we would do that. I love those days because the days were over. It's a short day, get in and out.
Feel good
Friday, man. It was the absolute best. And he would give you the shirt off his back for you, and that's how he was. I remember a time when it was a worst game that I probably played as a pro. It was a Monday night game against Baltimore. Fumbled the balls, coming off of a toe injury. My mother winds up getting arrested for something, and coming to the game, and and I didn't find out until after the game. So I'm like feeling really low, that and this and Barrett, all this stuff. And he calls me up and says, "Hey, 27 man, let's go out and get something to eat. I know how you feeling." And he was that type of teammate, always protecting his brothers. But I watched this man, deal with a lot of adversity during his time as a quarterback. Being an African-American quarterback, he had to endure a lot. It took him time to find his game. I think there were times when we handcuffed him because of his abilities. Steve was a quarterback that wasn't the pocket, stand in the pocket, throw the ball downfield type of guy. I mean, he could do those things, but he needed weapons around him. He needed to be the highlight of the offense. He wasn't the type to do play action and then throw it to the flat. He had a special skill set. So it wasn't until 2001-2 that they really began to put the reins in his hands and allow him to become, the wizard on the field. He really went from elementary offense to having a PhD, literally on the field, calling his own plays, going 5 wides. And we didn't even have the plays. We didn't even go over the plays in practice. He would know how to check and manipulate the defense and win the run, win the slide. I mean, just all the nuances that you want to see out of a quarterback. And I just watched his confidence grow over time, where he can put the ball on your earlobe. But there was also a time when he couldn't throw a 5-yard out because his confidence was so low. So to watch the drastic difference from one player to the next was incredible to see that. And it was all based off of one thing, was perseverance. He persevered through the doubt, through the naysayers, through personal doubt, through his own personal demons, not wanting to play the game. There was a game against Kansas City when he got hit in the sternum. He was booed off the field, didn't want to play football again, only to come back 2 or 3 weeks later just cold off the bench in the fourth quarter, throw the game-winning touchdown against Pittsburgh and Three Rivers. So it was all those little things that, man, this dude is mentally tough. He was physically tough, but more so mentally and spiritually tough than anything else.
Damn. Are there Are there a couple plays that would define you guys as arguably being the two best Titans to ever put on a uniform? But are there a couple plays like you're in the moment, he might go off cuff and be like, hey, no, we're going to do this, or some, something that's like would be fun to kind of know about that doesn't go with the ebbs and flows of every other story?
Well, Steve, during his MVP year, wouldn't practice during the week.
Oh, really?
No, he would always
as the Q?
As the QB, would not practice during the week. We did not see him. He was in the training room taking a nap. He would watch Sanford and Son, The Price is Right, Matlock. That was his thing. He would watch all those shows, and he would come out to practice because he was banged up a lot. So we were in New York. We were playing the New York Giants. I think we lost the Jets the week before, and he could not move. Like his toe, I think he had a toe injury or a knee injury. He was banged up from head to toe. And we were losing the game, I think, by like 14 points, 15 points or something like that. And he led us to a comeback. I mean, just with 5 wides, no huddle, I think for the last quarter. And he led us to a comeback in the New York market. And that to me was just so impressive because he never gave up. He never shied away from adversity. Even when we were down and losing, he always was going to come up and show up. Another thing about Steve, too, and when he was in college, he played Youngstown State in Youngstown, and it's blistering cold. It's like 15 below zero, playing in the playoff game, and he's not playing well. He knows he's leaving the next year after the season. But he continues to play deep into the fourth quarter, and they're getting their asses kicked in the cold, and continues to fight for his teammates and himself. So he is another example of how selfless he was as a quarterback and as a person. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was that's wild, man. I mean, how do you, when you first heard the news, what went through your mind when he had, when everything went down and happened?
Well, I didn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. But when it was confirmed, it was, it still is a shock.
Yeah.
It's something you never get over. The moment you find out, I was driving back from Atlanta, my wife, my son, we were coming back to celebrate the 4th of July, and there was not a cloud in the sky. It was a hot summer day. And as we got closer to town and the word started to spread, it just felt like it was like a haze over the city. It started to rain and pour for 3 days. And the city was just down. It was like the worst loss you can ever imagine. And you go to sleep, wake up, hoping that it was just a bad dream, but only to realize that that's what it was. And all the things that went around it, was just even more devastating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. And then everybody's probably pulling, wanting to hear.
Yep.
Because you're Eddie George and, that's unfortunate, man. We actually had, shout out, Matt Neely, R.I.P. Matt Neely. We had our first social media guy producer for the bus. He passed on us suddenly last year. He would have been, my man would have had a chubby back there, like so ecstatic that you were on the bus.
Oh, man. I'm sorry
but
to hear
he
that
was,
loss, man.
That one was sudden too, man. And it was, that's just crazy.
That's why you have to take every day as a blessing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take any day for granted. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You really have to. Just waking up is the gift. Like, I can get up, and if you can walk, see, touch, hear, all your elements in alignment and are in good shape, I mean, that's another blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you can see your loved ones and they're doing well is another blessing. Because there will come a time when
your number's called.
Your number's called, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, shifting to a, I wouldn't say lighter note, but I want to talk about your transition from the Titans to Dallas,
mm-hmm.
and how that transition was. Now, was your contract up and you went to Dallas? Were you traded? Were you released?
I was released.
Talk about that time.
Well, that time was tough because I could see the writing on the wall. I was a little long in the tooth. Age-wise, I was 30, 31 years
mm-hmm.
old. I had a lot of mileage on my body. Of course, they wanted me to take a pay cut. I said, okay, I can do that, but to what extent? You know, to the point where I wasn't going to be protected in terms of, well, if they wanted to cut me in the middle of the season or during preseason, they could do that with no repercussions. So I just wanted a little more reassurance that what you say was you were going to do is you're going to do. You're going to allow me to come in, get my body right, come back, and, you know, just, I'm a veteran at this time. Just let me ride out hard. You know, I still want to be able to get the opportunities. That's what I wanted to do. But they had plans of making me the second down guy, only limiting me to a certain amount of plays, and that's fine. But in terms of the dollar value, I had to protect that, and we just never could see eye to eye on that. So I said, okay, Bill Parcells, he does well with veterans. There could be a resurgence there. They have a talented roster. They had Keyshawn Johnson, Terry Glenn, Vinny Testaverde was the quarterback. They had a nice offensive line, a defense that was young but nasty. And I had visions of being that back that O.J. Anderson was for him at the New York Giants. And so I took a chance. So this is going to be real quick. That transition was the absolute worst. Okay.
Was it bad outing with Tennessee? Was it a sour taste? Was there a bitter taste in your mouth leaving Tennessee?
It was, because I played them on a Monday night game in the preseason, and our fans traveled down to the game, and on our sideline, there were like number 27 jerseys crossed out, and
This when you're on Dallas?
When I'm on Dallas, and that was hurtful because I'm like, damn, I helped build that brand
to what it
was, and now I'm in a Dallas uniform, and only God knows what's going to happen now. Is I have no idea how this whole thing's going to shake out, and that's when I saw.
So it was a bad breakup between you, Tennessee fans, and you.
Oh, it was a bad breakup.
Oh man,
it was not the storybook ending that I hoped for, and hoping to go to Dallas to kind of alleviate the pain, but it only just compounded the pain. It just really spread, because I saw that I was going to have another opportunity to play football again. So and that was it.
Now, did you know transitioning to Dallas that, hey, this could possibly be my last year in the NFL?
I knew it was going to be either my last year with Dallas or with Tennessee, one or the other. I wasn't quite sure. I mean, granted, I had 1,000 yards coming off a 1,000-yard season.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if the production was justified to say, you know, he doesn't have it anymore. But when I went to Dallas, I kind of felt in my heart that my love for the game was not the same. And the guys in the locker room was different. And I couldn't play for a paycheck. Just couldn't do it. I wasn't going to play just to say I got a rank somewhere, and had nothing to do with it. So it was time for me to move on to something different.
Yeah, that's always it's always tough, man. You know, going to a different locker room, especially in your situation, like, you know, doing what you did for the state of Tennessee. And when you mentioned the whole, it's hard to play for a paycheck. Like when you play football, dude, there's a level of commitment no matter what. And the way it sounded like from Coach Fisher, and then the way you alluded to during high school and college and everything like that, the work ethic that you put into it, it's just when you lose a little bit of that passion, you just see it differently.
Yeah.
You just see it differently. Like it's just, you start looking like just in other directions for different things. And like when you lose that passion of playing ball and like wanting to you know, put your face in everything, and then that kind of just goes away. It's different. It's harder to play for that paycheck.
It really is. It really is. It's like, why am I doing this? And then you start thinking, I'm wearing a number on my back right now, and I'm 30-something years old. It's a young man's game. So what's the next game? If I'm wearing a number on my back and I've gotten paid fairly well in my career, what is the guy that's writing the paycheck, what is he worth? How does he make his money?
Right.
How did he get to where he wanted to be? That's the next step.
Right.
You know, I want to be the check writer
versus
having someone dictate my future. So that's around that time. That's when I began to start reading business books, reading books on corporations, reading books on great leaders like Jack Welch, GE, and Good to Great, at that particular time. Just delving into different owners in terms of how they conducted their business. Say what you want about Jerry Jones. The man is a beast, man.
I mean, yeah.
Period. I have a lot of respect and I love Jerry Jones. He's an entrepreneur. He gets it. He understands marketing. He understands how to leverage his brand. I mean, damn, Dallas is, I think, the wealthiest team in all of sports.
Oh, yeah.
And they hadn't won a championship since 1992. I mean, that says a lot.
97, 96, I think.
Was it 96?
I think 96,
You're right. Excuse me for thank you for that. It was 96, right? It came out in 96. So, he understands that. And I have a great deal of respect for a guy like that. He gave me an opportunity to come play for him, but I just saw something different in terms of how you run different businesses from a different perspective. Bud did it his way, but certainly Jerry Jones did it his way. So those are the things that inspired me. My ending inspired me to jump into business, into entertainment, into entrepreneurship, into education. And it was, everything happens for a reason.
Right. Now, I came across an article where you talk about some of the challenges you had transitioning and retiring, going through that, going from, I've had conversations with, multiple guys. You probably were the same way, but you sit there and you're in steam rooms or hot tub, cold tub, and you're just kind of talking about next chapters and stuff like that. And you're just thinking, man, it's like you go through. I try to tell young guys and guys, like I was 23 when I came into the league. So, however long I worked to get to the league at 23 years old. Now I'm sitting here at 30 going on 31, but I'm on the back nine of my career. But let's say my career was over. I worked until I was 23 years old to play a 7-year career. Now, granted, it's the dream that we always wanted and we were after, but it was our entire mindset in life and identity all the way up until now. You're trying to figure out what's going to be that next roller coaster, like the highs and lows of a roller coaster. Like what's going to be that next adrenaline dump, because that's what we get. We go to that. We play D1 ball. You were a Heisman winner. You're Rookie of the Year. You made Tennessee into what it is. That close to a Super Bowl. You were the man. Like you were Eddie George, Tennessee Titan. And then you got to go into this chapter of retirement when the tread's wearing off. Like once you figure out you're a commodity, it's a hard pill to swallow that the tires are just wearing and hey, we're going to have to get a new vehicle in here.
The number on your back, right?
Yeah. Can you talk about some of those stressful times when you, right after retirement and figuring out that next step?
Yeah, it was a difficult one, exciting, but difficult. And it was more about finding your next passion or finding the next purpose in your life. You realize that football is a platform, not your purpose. Whether you've achieved great things like the Hall of Fame, Pro Bowler, All Pro, or just simply played for 7 years, it's just still a platform. It's what you do with it and identifying your purpose with that thereafter. So it felt like I was in the twilight zone when I first retired. Dealt with migraine headaches because of stress, dealt with anxiety, couldn't sleep at night, in a gut full of butterflies, not wondering what's going to happen the next day. Was not happy at all in my life at that particular time. My wife was pregnant. So all of those things were just very difficult to try to make it all make sense. Like, damn, what did I just go through? How did I get to this point? What do I do now? But fuck, who am I? For so many years, I nurtured, cultivated, perfected my craft as a running back, known as a running back, and now that's gone. What's next? I'm 31 years old. I wasn't born to play football and die,
Right.
So
we're on such a calendar year. Like
Right.
when you get done, you're in Coach Fisher's office. Hey, I don't want to go to the Pro Bowl. I want to work on next April when we get to work. Then it's training camp. How's my body going to look? How am I going to feel going into training camp? Then it's about maintaining, not losing much, having to excel at training camp, not get injured. And then from then on, it's week to week. What's the mission every week? And now when the mission's kind of like, I don't have to wake up the next day and go into team
that's
meetings.
the beautiful part.
Right.
But then it's like, damn.
But once it settles in, it's like,
Yeah.
it wasn't then the next season happens and you're starting to like watch and you're like, what am I trying to figure out?
Yeah. Yeah. So that all of that played a part into it. So I went to different avenues. I relied on my education. I got into acting. I started to study acting.
You were on Broadway, right?
Yeah, I went on Broadway.
Let's go.
But
That's awesome.
I did work here. I was doing Shakespeare here in town. Julius Caesar, Othello. Did a few dramatic plays. Streetcar Named Desire, Whipping Man, all of that with the rep. And that enabled me to really find my artistic voice, find my true authentic voice as a person, as a man, learning how to write, learning how to express myself. But it was cathartic for me to release all of that. It was healing. It was therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's not therapy, but it's therapeutic for me to go through all of that and to express it and to really identify with what just happened and to make sense out of it and use it for my next purpose, use it in my speeches, use it in my business, use it in a way to communicate and on so many different levels, through film, through theater. And I've been blessed to the point where I did perform on Broadway in 2016.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I'm doing things on the front of the camera. As an actor, it was NCIS LA and the Ballers and all of this. And it just leads itself to new opportunities of self-expression. And the same adrenaline that I've gotten on the field, I get in theater because it's live, it's visceral, it's a team, it's telling a story and imaginary circumstances. You have to rely on the other actors to help you, and you help them. So it's all of that. And to do that night after night on a Broadway stage, and I've done the Chicago, in New York, in Chicago, in Toronto, all over the country, pretty much LA. And that was just an awesome experience. It's like being in a locker room again.
Yeah.
From that perspective. And it was a wonderful experience. It continues to grow and develop in my life in so many different aspects now. Just that experience of being on stage and being vulnerable.
Yeah. How'd you find acting?
Acting found me, actually. I wanted to be able to be a better communicator. I wanted to. I'm like, I get over when I get into something. I study it. I do cross training with it. I do all types of stuff to be the best at it. And when I got into commentating, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a better communicator and storyteller, and just have different tools to rely on. So I said, let me get into acting. And because I was still getting parts and opportunities to do that. But it wasn't until I jumped on stage that I really felt the bug for it. Like, ooh, this is different.
Yeah.
I mean, literally going on stage for the first time is like stripping down, naked and then walking out there and talking.
I bet, dude.
I mean, naked.
How nervous were you before the first time you go out on stage?
My first time on stage was extremely nervous. I'm pacing back and forth, and you can't react like I can make somebody miss or run somebody over. You got to stick to the script.
Yeah.
And I completely went blank. I saw the bright lights, felt the heat, got stage fright, and it was all over. Started making up shit on the spot and got through it. But I said, you know what? That was such a rush for me, and I was not going to be defined or defeated by that. I'm going to go perfect it. And that's what I did.
Yo, that's awesome. Do you feel like you took the disciplines and everything you learned from ball and you're like, yo, I'm just going to maneuver it and put it into different verbiage and the same type of practices and
without a doubt,
energy and effort into this?
The same work ethic that I applied to my craft in football, I put into acting. The same exact thing. I took voice lessons.
Yeah.
Singing lessons to help my speaking voice. But my coach, my acting coach, Anna Maria Franzella, who's no longer with us, said, you can sing. And I'm like, woman, please, just...
You're like, I know I can in the car, in the shower, but I don't know about out loud.
Out loud on stage.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that she said, always said I could play the role of Billy Flynn. And those are some of the songs that we practiced with. And when the opportunity presented itself for me to audition, I was ready for that. And I'll never forget, it was in 14. It was 15. No, it was 14, excuse me. 2014, going into November, when I was asked to audition. And I said, well, they asked me if I could sing. I was like, hell yeah, I can sing. I took some voice lessons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, I got to figure this out. So I never sang out loud or away from a track before, but we're going to figure it out. It's going to be a great story one way or the other. So I get my fedora, get a nice, beautiful black suit with the damn the tie and the stripes, everything. I said, I'm going to go in as Billy Flynn. Go up to New York, Ambassador Theater on 39th and Broadway. And I walk in the bowels of the theater, and immediately I'm intimidated because I'm thinking to myself, some great actors have performed on the stage. Okay.
Right.
I've played in some great venues, Baltimore, Oakland, the Big House, all of them. But this little theater was intimidating to me. So I go out on stage. Some of the dancers are in there. Some of the other actors are just getting ready for a nice performance. And I'm just doing the audition. The piano player does very professional, warms up, just doing the scales. And I'm just standing there like, okay, when are we going to start? He says, okay, Mr. George, we're going to start from the top. All I care about is love. What key are you in? And I was like, what key? The key to life? Like what type of key? Like, let's figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we go through the scales, find my key, then we go and do all I care about is love. I'm cracking notes everywhere, but I'm going all out and having a ball, having a blast. I go through all my sides with the acting coach, and I'm doing it, and I'm just having fun, just being Billy Flynn, losing myself. And the theater is empty, and it's dark lit, and the lights are up there. And then I go through this for about 30 minutes. And then I hear this clapping. And I hear this, oh my God, that was amazing. It was Barry Weissler, the lead producer for the show. He says, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it on Broadway. My people will get in touch with your people. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to be on Broadway.
You were hyped.
I was hyped. But he said, my people will be in touch with your people. His people did not get in touch with my people until a year later. So I thought that after a while, he probably said,
hey, baby, we made it.
Yeah, they had heard anything.
They're going to call. Hey, they called? No, not yet. I think it's,
Right, so I'm thinking, he said, all right, he's wanting to get me the hell out the theater. I said, okay, this guy was terrible. Let's say something nice and get him out of here. But I did it, man, in 2016 and been doing their shows up until COVID last year. And it's been a wonderful experience.
Bro, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. And you also say you have a financial business.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, during the time I was getting ready for Broadway.
I was going to say, because you opened this up a little bit back, didn't you?
Yeah, it was right around the same time. So I do my audition. And of course, like anything else, I went and got my master's in business. I went to
that's awesome too. Yeah. Northwestern. That's fucking big time.
Yeah, that was a wonderful experience. 2009. So I was looking for the bones of a business that I could grow, something I was passionate about, recurring revenue, had the potential for growth that I can take it to scale. Mm-hmm. I had started my own landscape architecture firm back then, and that's why it inspired me to go to learn more about business. And to say the least, that wasn't where my passion was. It was more entrepreneurial. So,
what wasn't where your passion was?
In terms of landscape architecture, that was my original.
Okay.
That was my original business. And
then you realize you're kind of just falling in love with the whole creation vision of everything.
Building an actual business. I had visions of building a $1 billion company. That's what my goal is. But it just wasn't there.
Right.
I'll just leave it there. So I decided that that I needed to find something different that I was passionate about, that I knew, and finances was something that kind of resonated with me in terms of helping young men, like other athletes, avoid the pitfalls that I've seen others fall into and what I've already been through, from bad business dealings to financial advisors to the agents and so forth. Teach a curriculum, which I did at Ohio State, and guide their financial future while building my assets under management. So while I was studying for the role of Billy Flynn, I was studying to get my Series 7 at the same time.
Okay.
And I remember having the choice. I was like, damn, I was conflicted. Like, damn, how am I going to get ready to go on Broadway to perform on the Broadway stage? But also, I'm getting in the middle of getting my Series 7. And granted, I already invested my time into getting my 66, 65, all that stuff. And I said, I had to make a decision on what I want to do. Until I thought to myself, I said, well, shit, let me do both. And that's exactly what I did. I would study for my Series 7 in the morning, take tests. Afternoon, I would go and study with my acting coach, songs and script. Come right back that night, do another test or two, go to bed, and did that for 4 months straight, because I was determined to turn my platform into education, entrepreneurship, and entertainment, and I can do all of them simultaneously, and that's what it is. So I've developed my wealth management business, the Edward George Wealth Management Group. I have 2 other partners. I focus on high net worth individuals, a few athletes, foundations, work with specialty groups in terms of maintaining and preserving their wealth through different platforms, independent firm. And I'm also, again, teaching young athletes that are aspiring to be in our position one day, the case studies on what to look out for in terms of bad business dealings and bad advisors, and how to vet out a financial advisor, how much you pay your financial advisor if you pay him exactly, and how does that happen?
What he says in the beginning, yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
After all hidden costs, fees, all that stuff.
Exactly. So how do you pay him? He gets paid through commission, or he gets paid through as a rap fee. But what's that rap fee and what does he have you in? Where's your 401k going? Do you have insurance? Oh, how can you use your insurance? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There are certain benefits you can use for your insurance as a bank. I mean, just little things that can help you put the athlete in the seat of power, versus lending their power over to somebody that says they have their best interest in mind. And the only thing that you have that you can rely on is the trust factor,
right,
that he's going to do the right thing, and how it's structured. So all of those things.
And those dudes, when you're sitting across from them at a table when you're a young cat, I mean, they got the whole script to kind of...
The script, the background.
Yeah, they got it all to where you're just like, oh, this makes sense for me as an athlete. And then next thing you know, like, guys are vocal that, hey, I'm always vocal. I'm like, hey, it's a fact that 70 to 80% of guys go bankrupt within 5 years of playing in the NFL from that 30 for 30. Like, hey, boys, all of us in here, I'll be in the locker room. Hey, all of us in here ain't making it after 5 years.
Right.
And, because you see guys come in with new chains, you do all this, do all that. But, that's awesome that you started that. I had no idea.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Do you, are you pretty engaged with, like, does the PA reach out to you? Like, are you engaged with the players union you're able to, educate kids?
Yeah. Well, I've been teaching. Well, I was teaching at Ohio State for the last 5 years, the business of professional sports, and I brought in somebody from that makes up the entire business: front office, GM, agent, financial advisor, NFL PA, someone from the league offices, and they talk about their functions. You talk about our job descriptions, what they do, how they look at athletes, how they look at the sport, so you can get a well-rounded view of how we are a commodity and not necessarily a person. And then you begin to see how easy, if you do things right, how easy it is to go financially broke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You had a quote that resonated with me. I heard you on a podcast. It was, you helped me out. It's like something about gross and net. You live by the gross, you'll die by the net. I think that's what it is.
You live by the gross, you'll die by the net.
Yeah.
So if you think that what we see on television in terms of free agents signing $100 million deal.
Yeah, the ticker that come across.
Is it really $100 million?
No,
Exactly. We know that, right?
Yeah.
So it's pulling, the smoke and mirrors behind, and it's a significant amount of money. But understanding the tax bracket you're going into, Uncle Sam's going to get his cut.
Right.
Your agent gets his, and it's still a good nut. But is it a good? Is that generational wealth? It's a good start to generational
Correct.
wealth if it's handled appropriately. The guy that cut the check, that's generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference. So I wanted others outside the business, or even kids that are getting into the business, to realize that I'm just starting with this. The end goal is not now. Now is not the time to buy a Lamborghini and 5 houses, across the country for my mom and dad, thinking that I have $100 million. No, you don't. You probably got 25 of that. But guess what? If you keep spending 10, it chunks into that. And you realize that your nest egg that you have is down next to nothing when you retire. You're better off, starting small, rent the first couple of years, establish your investor DNA, get the right advisors around you. You don't have to hit for home runs. Manufacture your runs, base hits every day. Find something that's going to bring you a safety net. You want to have something that's going to preserve your wealth and something that's going to generate your wealth. Those 3 buckets. And how are you going to do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's the philosophy. So don't feel like you have to go be the lead investor for a real estate project and you're the bank guy. They're depending on you to fund their dream. That's where you go wrong. And I've seen it, time and time again with athletes that I played against, how we get sucked into that because we just don't know. You don't know who to trust.
Guys just don't know. And you use the example of $100 million guy like those guys. That's the 1% of the 1% in the NFL.
Yeah.
Majority of guys are, journeymen like myself, or they're making, those smaller contracts throughout their career, but you still have those same, those same distractions off of the field,
right? Because
they think you're the, everybody's the same way. Hey, once you're in the NFL, you're like, hey, once you got the shield on you, there's a target on you.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you're making the 100 million or you're making the minimum. Like everyone thinks like, oh, you made it, you're rich, you're that.
Right.
And it's just,
unfortunately
not the case.
Right.
And how do you go about when guys want to sit you down or pick your brain or you go and speak? How do you speak to those guys in a way that like a fundamental change can happen or a shift can happen for somebody?
Well, I just try to be authentic and tell them the truth. Be as transparent as I can be based off of my experience.
What's your worst experience that you can teach somebody where you're like, hey, this is what happened with me?
When I first got into the NFL, when I first signed on the dotted line to get my check, it was my signing bonus. And my agent pulls me aside, tells me that the guy that I chose as my financial advisor is hearing bad things about him. And I shouldn't put my money with him. Long story short, I tell my mom to take the money and go to Philadelphia, put it in the bank. Let's see what happens. 2 days later, I get the phone call from the FBI from the bank saying that this gentleman tried to pull money out of the account. Well, no money was there, thank God, because he was caught going to South America for embezzlement and running a Ponzi scheme.
No shit.
Yeah, no shit. First time out. So immediately out the gate, this guy was a smooth talker. Had everybody on his list, from entertainers, different athletes. It was a boutique setup, a shop. I remember him trying to get me to sign a power of attorney so he could legally move the money. You see what I'm saying?
Damn.
So and he got me a loan, but I never signed it. So those are the things that I just recall, and it's a bunch of others. And they come in different shapes, sizes, the Iagos of the world, I call them. In terms of Shakespeare, the Iagos, they appear to be your friend, but they have a different ulterior motive behind you. Incentives drive behavior. It always does. So if somebody is around you, question why are they around you? Why are they catering to you? What is their ulterior motive? And if you're leaning on that person for information or to be the business guy, that's not a wise choice. You really need to understand the language, how contracts are set up, how LLCs are set up, all of this stuff. So you're not burnt in the end of holding the bag, so to speak. So that's it.
Hey, any young cats listening that have aspirations to go to the league that might be in college listening, look up Eddie George's financial firm.
Yeah, the Edward George Wealth Management Group.
Yeah, what is it?
Edward George Wealth Management.
Edward George.
Yep.
Okay. That's your first name, Edward.
Yes.
I love it. What's the ultimate goal? When you say this is kind of something to help propel me to the ultimate goal, what is an ultimate goal of yours that you have in mind? Do you want to own a team one day?
No, that's just
You've talked about writing a couple checks at times.
I mean, my goal.
A couple hints.
You know what? My goal is to create and build wealthy individuals, and not just in terms of dollar value, but in terms of character, in terms of principles. That's where my calling is at this point in time, is to develop young people or people to become entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs with a purpose, and to find their calling, in this life.
Yeah,
that's what's driving me now, and that's done through my entrepreneurship aspirations in wealth management, and through insurance platforms, to help others again achieve entrepreneurship, to help their lives and the lives of others.
Right, like generational stuff.
Yeah,
sounds like some mentorship as
well. Exactly.
Not just, you make money, they make money.
Exactly.
They know
it's
how to
have
make money. There's like more of a genuine purpose behind it. Working one-on-one with the individual. Understand that whoever's under you, they're part of like this fraternity
an ecosystem.
Or family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I'm creating, and a byproduct of that will lead to wealth.
Right.
But that's not the end goal.
Right.
But if I'm in a position to be an owner one day, you're damn right. Hey, everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
So I finished. Our team was left with that 1 yard short. I'm going to hold up a Lombardi trophy one day. I am going to hold one up.
Hey, you're hearing it.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, he's going to own a squad one day. He's going to do something.
Yeah. You can be my linebacker coach.
Hey, there we go. See, I don't know. I kind of want to. You got me motivated now to. You're going to be writing me checks if I'm the linebacker coach.
I was waiting to see how you respond to that. He's like, nah. You're like, nah. I'm gonna be the president. I'm gonna do something. So that's what my goals are, man.
Yeah, dude, I love it, man. Let's talk a little Titans. How you feeling about the boys this year?
It's hard to figure out about the boys because, damn, is there going to be a season?
I think so.
Yeah.
Don't you think there's going to be one? Don't you think it's at least one's going to start?
I'm hoping that it's going to start. I hope it's sustainable. I think they've done a nice job of keeping everything at bay. The protocols are tight. No one can come into the facility.
Right.
I mean, we hadn't heard any cases of guys catching anything. That's been great. Now it's a question of when they begin to travel, how that's going to operate.
Right. Once they step on the plane, go to another hotel.
So let's just assume the best. Okay, right. We're optimistic here. I like the makeup of the team. I like the chemistry. I like the fact that they play for each other. There's genuine love there. They have an identity. Defensively, I want to see what Vic Beasley is. Vic Beasley, right?
Yes.
I want to see what he brings to the table from the past. I think they need a premier pass rusher, and I thought that going into last season, they needed somebody that can disrupt the quarterback with just getting a 4-man rush.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. I like the new kid from Appalachian State, the running back.
Oh yeah,
Evans.
Yep.
He's going to be a utility guy that they can rely on the return game at short, and also as a third down guy. And Tannehill, I'm curious to see if he can now take over games.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to manage a game and handle 22 and let your line lean on the team. Now when they line up, okay, 9 in the box, and we've seen it last year.
Right.
9 in the box. We're committed now to stopping Derrick Henry. He cannot beat us. How is Tannehill going to do it?
Right.
Consistently. And I think he can do it.
Yeah.
He's put the ball there. So saying all of that, they have everything they need. Offensively, Jonnu Smith is going to be a superstar. I love the receivers. A.J. Brown is going to be a superstar. So they have levels to their offense that they're multi-dimensional. And it's going to be tough to compete with that. And Mike Vrabel is a phenomenal
You played with
coach.
him in Ohio State, right? Wait, what was the year separation there?
Just 1 year.
Oh,
So
what was he like as a teammate?
He was an asshole.
Hey, I bet, man. That motherfucker's an asshole.
He is
dude.
an asshole.
Yeah.
But an asshole you love.
Right.
And when he's on your squad, that's the asshole that you want.
Right.
Because he's going to knock you in the mouth and talk about you and do everything he needs to do. He's going to tell you just exactly how he feels. Mike was a damn freshman calling out upperclassmen. You're not touching the line, on sprints, or you're going halfway. I mean, he'll call your ass out. That's how he operates. Who he is now is exactly
there too, because he's the same person.
Yeah.
He's still trying to hit somebody in the mouth,
even
as a coach.
He loves the contact. He loves teaching. He loves mentoring. He loves to create a winning product. So you throw all that into the mix, and what Amy Adams is doing and John Robinson, what they're doing, they're on the road to some great things.
I think so too.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite offseason move? Obviously, they brought a lot of pieces back. The draft, free agency, their own guys. Which one's been your favorite move?
Well, it's tough to say my favorite right now because
we're gonna need a favorite. We're gonna need a preseason favorite.
Well, here's the thing: is I haven't seen them yet, and I think the draft choice out of Georgia, Isaiah Wilson.
Oh yeah. Hey, he's a big motherfucker, dude.
Oh, he's a problem.
Yes, yes.
He's a problem in the trenches, and you throw in now. Derrick's got some help there. Another mauler in between the tackles. Oh my God, it's going to be nasty in there, man.
Hey, I was surprised you said that move. I figured you would have said D. Henry getting this.
We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but did you know that the whole time? Even when it was getting close, you're like, "Hey, it's still going to happen."
Nah,
maybe per source, you might have known per source.
Nah, you never know in this business, but it would have been foolish not to do it. And they found the win-win. They were going to figure it out. The Titans like to operate right close to the edge.
Yeah.
Put time and pressure on the athlete.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't want to. They want to get the most out of it. They want to
the art of the negotiation. Dude.
The art of negotiation, and they want an organizational friendly deal. And that's I think they found the win-win there.
Yeah.
So I figured that they had to get Derrick signed. They were going to get him signed, I think it was a 4-year deal.
Yes.
Turns out probably could be a 3-year, somewhere around there. Yeah. See where he's at.
I want to say the first 2 are pretty guaranteed.
Yeah, and then that third year is kind of iffy.
Yeah.
The funny money comes into play.
Yeah.
So guarantees about 21 million or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a win-win.
Yeah. Who would you say is your favorite player on the Titans?
Wow. Outside of Derrick.
Because I want to say mine is turning into A.J. Brown. That's what mine's turned into. Delaney Walker, when I was on the team, I loved Delaney. I loved being around Delaney. He was kind of just my favorite. I just always was like, yeah, Delaney's my favorite player.
Well, my favorite.
But now I think mine is becoming A.J. Brown. We've had him on the pod.
Yeah.
I've seen him a couple other times, FaceTime with Taylor, and he's just
hilarious.
I think he's hilarious, but he's just got that young, I don't know, that it takes no shit attitude, and he's confident.
Yeah.
He's insanely confident.
I love it. Yeah.
And he's a worker.
He was like that coming in.
Right.
I mean, he was pissed off about something he did in practice. It was real small. I'm like, dog, it's not even only preseason. Take it easy. You got time.
Yeah.
But that said, he was a man. And the fact that he called your boy Taylor out.
I know. They were talking about it on here too. I know. Yeah.
What? Again, a rookie.
That's what I'm saying.
Calling out not just the big dog on the offensive line, the highest paid player on the Titans.
Right.
Yo.
And still talking about it when he's on the pod, like, yeah, you was on some shit.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
The only thing I didn't like hearing about him is that he was one of those rookies who he was too prideful to do rookie stuff.
See,
But he had the kind of that asshole mentality. It's like, hey man, it's part of the deal. How do you feel about that stuff?
You got to pay your dues.
Yeah,
you got to pay your dues. And the fact that he had success last year, like you can. I know. Kind of defeats it a little bit, but. You know, he'll beat that veteran. He is that veteran now.
I know. He's quickly becoming a vet.
That he wish, you got to follow protocol, and that young hot rookie's gonna come in there and show him out. But I like AJ Brown. I think he's got tremendous upside. I like him as a person. But I like Johnny Smith though. I think he has a chance to be really good in this league. Yeah. You don't think so?
No, I think so. I'm a big Jonnu Smith guy.
Oh, my God.
Hearing somebody else say that, call him a superstar and give him respect like that, it's kind of a new thing that I feel like is going to come in the future. But why do you think so?
When I saw
before it
him
actually happens,
dot the I and take a tall sweep down the right sideline for almost 70-something yards, I'm like, what? Like, yo. Throw him back there. Let him get some tokes with Derrick. Let him split that, man. The dude's got skills, man.
Yeah.
If we're a tight end, I mean, that is remarkable. Athletic, fast, hands, attitude, all of it. He's got the build. I mean, I like him moving forward. I really like his style. I like what he brings to the offense. He makes them multi-dimensional now in the middle of the field.
Right.
Because if you control the middle of the field, it opens up everything. With a tight end that can stretch it, that can do it all, it opens up the outside. Certainly is going to present problems for a defense now. Like, okay, we really can't stack the box like this because we got a tight end that can go vertical on you. We got a receiver that's ridiculous in AJ Brown. So they got some options. They've got some weapons.
They have some studs, man. And another thing that will play in their favor is knowing that Arthur Smith is back and they kind of have the same offense.
Yep.
Vrabe obviously still there, but they get to be in the system again after going to an AFC championship.
Yes.
I think like that's going to benefit them because people with new head coaches, younger teams, stuff like that, like especially in times like this, you just don't know how the year's going to play out.
Right.
I think they can come and not miss a beat as much as any team out there.
Yeah, and the fact that
since they have everybody kind of returning.
Nationally, everybody's, of course, Kansas City, but when you're talking about the South, it's got to be Tennessee, but they're still talking about the Colts and this and that. I'm like, all right,
Houston.
Houston too. I mean, they're an interesting group. I don't think they have the discipline. I think they lack the discipline. We talk about when you look at teams, you start to talent is always, every team in the league is talented, but you start looking at the makeup of a team, the character of the team. The little things that will separate you from being just good, average, and the greatest teams are the ones that can self-discipline in their locker rooms, who their leaders are. And I don't know if Houston has that. I know Deshaun Watson's a grown man, but I don't. Outside of him, who else is there? I know J.J. Watt, but is it? I don't know about their locker room if they're that team that's going to take over the South and be there consistently.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, your boy, speaking of generational and writing checks, Patrick Mahomes now, he got that big deal, and now he's a little part owner in the Royals.
I tell you what, man.
Hey, that's a move you like to see as an athlete.
Yeah, I'm super happy for him, man. I saw him at Tahoe. I was playing in the golf tournament, the American Century Championship, and I'm warming up. I'm out there 2 hours beforehand. So I'm just trying to get myself. You
good? Hey, you solid at golf?
No.
He said, hey, I'm out there 2 hours beforehand.
That's why I was out there. So Patrick Mahomes comes up. It's really, this laid back and just kind of open, and he's just like all over the place. And he's just like, hey, we free Willie, whatever. And he goes up, and I'm like, I said, your first time playing? He said, yeah, it's first time playing here, but man, I'm out here having the ball, blah, blah, blah. Puts the pin and the golf ball on top, tees out his driver, pow, hits one, and kind of like a stinger or whatever. I'm like, this dude's he's gonna stink up the spot. He's like, he can't play.
Yeah.
he gets on the course, man, and he is in the middle. He's in the mix. Eagle here, birdie there, par here. I'm like, oh my God, he's loving life. I said, man, that's a guy that just signed $100 million contract.
Yeah,
feeling good. $500 million, half a B. Feeling good about life. I'm like, can care less where the ball goes.
Could care less.
That's a guy with no stress right now.
No stress.
He's such a great player, man. Such an exceptional player.
Dude, he is, man. He just seems like he has fun too.
There he is.
And just competes his ass off when you're out there.
He does. Look at that stroke right there. Look at that. Look at see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Let's go. That's $500 million right there. That's $500 million to look good.
He's out there like he's on the field.
Like. Look at that. Look at that.
Hey, look at him walking.
He didn't warm up. He only hit a couple balls off the tee and didn't warm up. That's $500 million.
Do you see how hype he is, dude?
Yeah. He was like that, man. I get it, man. The dude is phenomenal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and like when Houston went up on him, like what was it, 3 scores or whatever?
Yeah.
And you just knew that, hey, they're not out of it, because once he starts doing that, flexing after a touchdown, you're just like, oh shit. Hey, Mahomes is about to turn it up.
And they did it not once, but the entire playoffs.
Right.
That's what makes them deadly. When you have a team that can come back from adversity like that and fight through it. And they beat Houston by what? By 21, right?
Yeah. They laid it on them. Houston didn't do nothing.
They beat
them
by 21. Down by 24 and beat them by 21. Oh, my God. That was remarkable to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you got the leadership of him and then Honey Badger on the other side. You allude to leadership and things like that. Like, obviously they got it on both sides.
Right.
Also, your relationship with Derrick. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people talk about your guys' relationship, your friendship, your mentorship, how you mentor him. How did that come about and transpire? Was it during when did all of that take place? And how are you guys
when he won the Heisman.
To the point where you're at now?
Yeah, when he won the Heisman Trophy. I was there when he won it. I was at his banquet. We had a chance to talk. Got to know him a little bit. And Derrick, can be a little aloof. When you first meet him, not talk a whole lot, kind of quiet, shy.
He is.
Yeah.
Always got that fashion on him.
Oh, damn.
That's why it throws you off. You feel like he's going to have some personality that's, what's this guy, but he's kind of quiet to himself, and you're like,
it's not like his style.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I compliment you on, I'm a sneakerhead. I get it. I like the fact. So we had stories. I think, going to, we had a commercial together with the Heisman House, and we really had a chance to sit and talk on the flight back to LA. It's 3 hours long, and we talked maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes of that, and just about everything from Bama to O State and the Titans and contracts and styles of play and so forth. I think he reached out to me when who's the guy that just left, the running back from New England? He was here.
Deion Lewis.
When Deion Lewis was brought in.
This was my year. This was the year I was there.
When DeMarco Murray left and the reins were going on Derrick, he called me. He was like, man, what do you think about, Deion coming in? What are they trying to do? Blah, blah, blah. I said, man, I told him then, I said, just focus on yourself. You determine how much they use him. You determine that. What they want to see from you is not you hit the home run. You can do that. You demonstrated that. But what you do in between the tackles consistently, how you control the game consistently with the 5-yard hard runs, the 4-yard, and I'm telling you, the big runs are going to happen. If you impose your will, if you seek out contact, if you seek out to deliver punishment, those defensive backs will get out of the way. They don't want to see it for 4 quarters. And you'll see the turnaround. So I guess he took that, and then, he was pressing a little bit in the beginning of the season. You guys go over to San Diego, play San Diego. At the time, it was the Chargers in England, in London.
Yeah.
And it was a play, I want to say, in the second quarter where it was Merriweather, a linebacker who was like maybe 5'10". Look this up for me. How big is Merriweather?
He's not the biggest back. Has a lot of pop.
Yeah.
But not the biggest linebacker.
Right.
Perryman.
Yeah. And I said, damn, he elected to go off tackle. He could have squared him up, took half his body, maybe got 3 or 4 more yards and whatever, but he made a move and made it easy for him to tackle him. And I remember sitting next to Keith Bullock. I said, you see, man, that he's too big to be running like the way he is. He's trying to hit the home run. He's pressing. He's not having fun. He's not imposing himself his will. And I think the whole thing with Deion and splitting time and not getting carries and all that was just messing with his head. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't shortly thereafter we had the conversation after that trip when he called me on the phone. I believe it was a Sunday night during the bye week. And that's when we had the heart-to-heart. And shit, the rest is literally history.
Hey, he's had some, yeah.
Yo, he had monster runs, man. I mean, he's
monster runs.
Yeah,
bro.
And he's emerged as a leader of the team. I mean, he's emerged as a vocal leader, and they ride with him. You can see it. You can feel that they feed off of his energy.
Oh yeah, they're definitely all gelling. They're definitely all meshing. I know the O-line, Derrick, all of them. Mm-hmm. They like that kind of nasty attitude of knowing that they can, probably like yourself back in the day. Like, hey, we're gonna run the ball. We want to run the ball 30 times. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you. This thing's almost been 2 hours. You're almost one of the longest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. So am I boring, huh?
No. This is heat. Hey, we got a bunch of time. Anybody got any questions for Eddie? Hey, don't just hold your breath now.
I got one. If some schools wanted to make you a linebacker, right, coming out of high school.
Oh yeah, a few of them.
If everybody wanted you to be a running back, would you have chose differently?
That's a great question.
That's from my pops.
If Penn State had said yes, they wanted me to play running back, I would have been a Nittany Lion. That was my dream. I went to their football camps as a kid.
And they just didn't offer you.
They offered me, but
it was too late.
But it was to play linebacker. I went up there on an unofficial visit when they played Notre Dame. They played against Jerome Bettis and Ricky Waters, that group. And they beat them, and I go in the locker room, and I'm like in awe. I'm like, damn, that's Joe Pa. Like, that's Joe Paterno right there, like my hero. I'm standing in the hallway, and I got on this goose with the fur around the hood and my skull cap, and he looks me up and down, and he goes off to the side, and he calls Fran Ganter, the running back coach, over. And he whispers, he looks back, and then Fran comes over and says, hey, Eddie, yeah. I remember you when you were at football camp. Man, you've grown up, my guy. Where are you? I said, I'm at Fort Union Military Academy. And my heart's like this. I'm like, oh, my God, they're going to ask me to come to be a Nittany Lion. Yeah. He says, well, on Monday, we're going to give you a call. We're going to come down and come see you. So I go back to Fort Union, couldn't sleep the night. I'm like tossing and turning. Lo and behold, I get a message. Tom Bradley, who recruits in the area, wants to talk to you. So I call him, like, hey, coach, how you doing? Great win on the beating the Irish and all that. He says, yeah, well, we want to bring you up for a visit. I said, oh, that'd be amazing. He says, well, when can you come up? We set the date or whatever. And I said, well, are you guys looking to recruit me as a linebacker or running back? There's a long pause. He says, well, linebacker. We're thinking about linebacker. We got some young running backs. We got Kejana Carter. We got Stephen Pitts. We got Mike Archie, and we need more, depth at linebacker or hero. And that's my heart sank, because my goal was to play running back. Period. Yeah. So that ended that story there. But lo and behold, I didn't know they were independent at the time. They had become the Big Ten. And that's when I would go back and play against Penn State for 3 times. Beat them 2 out of 3 times. Yeah.
Hey, good question, Alex.
That's my dad, man. Shouts out Bill.
Shout out to Pops. What about Josh, Jack? Come on, Titans fans.
How we all do.
I just want to get like a little behind the scenes type thing of you and like Ray Lewis is all y'all's old bouts, like just one-on-one, just like the whole crowd just ooh. Like,
how
whenever
about
y'all
that time where you guys, it was on the sideline. It wasn't a big gain, but you had like slammed him to the ground. You know what play I'm talking about.
I know that.
What were you jawing to him on that play?
You know what it was. You know what it was. It was supposed to be. That's the moment. Like he would always say, he knocks me out. That was his time to knock me out of that game. And I don't remember verbatim. It was a bunch of cuss words. I know that. It was a bunch of MFs, F you, I'll be back, same play. You know, it was a lot of jawing back and forth. Yeah.
Hey, y'all did jaw a lot.
Yeah, we would go at it, man. I think that was the playoff game.
Yeah, AFC Central.
Yeah, that's just the regular season game. That was just the regular season game.
Was he probably one of your favorite defensive players to play against, or was he? I
wouldn't say favorite, but because he was always there. He was more or less by far the greatest linebacker I've ever faced.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt, because he's smart, instinctive, and if you're not careful, he'll knock the shit out of you.
Yeah.
You know, he was that dude now.
Pops. I mean, hell, he's got a clip being on kickoff return and almost killing a man on a back block, basically.
Yeah.
You know what play I'm talking about?
Exactly
he like told the dude to come out of the end zone.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, no, take it out of the end zone.
No,
he was on kick return.
That was when Ed Reed returned it for a touchdown. Right before half, they kicked the field goal. They didn't make the field goal. They came out. He told Ed Reed to come out of the end zone.
I'm telling you, he had a kickoff return rep.
Did he really?
Like he was on special teams. I swear to God, I don't know why he was, but he was on special teams. Type in, Ray Lewis kickoff return. I'm telling you.
Well, I don't doubt it, because he's that type of player. Without a doubt, we've always had a fierce rival, me and him, coming out in 1996.
Man, what was the thoughts in your head when he got that interception and took it to the house?
Well, honestly, prior to that, it was a field goal that was blocked in return for a touchdown. And that play took the wind out of our sails, because to get back to score on that defense that year was like me trying to get to the moon. You know, it was very difficult to get in a position to score against this defense.
Yeah.
I mean, because they were that good. They ran a 4-3, Saragusa and Sam Adams in the middle. Cover 2, beat it. That's it. It was no exotic blitzes. They weren't trying to sugar. Look at him. I mean, it was for grown men only. So once that play happened, it was like, all right, we were out of our element. It hits me down. If you saw the ball get tipped into his hands, right?
Yeah.
Now, Baltimore fans like to say he snatched it out of my hands. Right. Like I carried the football, and he ripped it out, and the ball was behind me.
People can definitely be trolling out there.
It's but you know, that happens, man. That happens. That's when it all went down. We had 6 minutes and 40 some odd seconds left. Yeah, that was it. Oh. That was it. That was 6 minutes to go?
Yeah, 6:45.
6:45.
Hey, this was a good pod, boys.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man.
This was awesome.
Well, I enjoyed it, man. And good luck to you, too, brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
And all of your endeavors. I think this is going to be huge. It already is. So.
Well, it's not huge yet, but it is growing.
Yeah.
It is growing.
It's going the right direction.
Yeah, it's going the right direction.
My man.
Yeah,
Blessings to you, brother.
I appreciate you, bro.